Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswate Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Well, often during the year, Nirkula and I travel to various temples, communities, and devotees want to have practical training about how to distribute books. And recently someone brought it to my attention that although we've traveled to many places and taught devotees hands-on how to distribute books, we haven't done it here very much, which is ironic. Is it ironic?
Yes.
There's an irony in that? So there is a process. Just as there's a recipe for making delicious cakes and pies, as my friend Willie Jolly used to say, similarly there's a recipe for success. And if you follow the recipe, then you'll very quickly be successful. And so I'm going to show a few principles today, and then principles of success for book distribution. And then I'm going to orchestrate a training session through which everyone will learn how to distribute a Bhagavad Gita and a Krishna book on its own merit, on their own merit. And I guarantee it, that is, once you learn this presentation, you'll be able to sell a Bhagavad Gita to anyone, anywhere, at any time, or your money back from this seminar today. Indians excluded. That is, not as distributors, but as recipients, because there's a slightly different way of distributing to Indians. So today I'm going to give a basic presentation about how to present to anyone who's not an Indian. And I'll also comment about at least how I talk to Indians about the Bhagavad Gita. It's a touchy subject, as you all know, because we have that. We know that, etc. So we have a legacy that we're following. Sampradaya, the word means the complete gift. That is, we're receiving something as a gift that's being passed down to us out of great compassion and mercy. It is mentioned in the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam that Shukadeva Goswami, only out of compassion, went to speak the Bhagavatam. And this is the best kind of gift because there are no strings attached. It's only out of love that this is being offered by the great personalities on behalf of Krishna, who is Krishna Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandho Jagatpate. He's the most merciful, and he's the ocean of mercy. So we have the enviable job of receiving the gift and passing it on to others. What better work is there? In working for oneself, trying to get some fruit of gain, there's always strife, there's always friction, and everyone's competing against one another. However, when one is a true gift giver, none of these anomalies exist in one's life. And this is the only way to live in this world without being touched by the material energy. Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyakva karotiya lipyate nasapapena padma patram ivambasa. Krishna says, a person who lives in this gift-giving spirit. That is, they're not interested in the fruit of their work. They're working out of mercy on behalf of Krishna. They don't even touch the result. They're not interested in the result. They only want to please Krishna. That person lives unencumbered by the material energy. They're not touched by sin. Lipyatena sapapena padma patram ivambasa. So one of those great representatives whose name we sing every day, every hour, is Sri Advaita Prabhu, who is the great personality who ushers in the incarnations of the Lord who come to this world. He is a manifestation of Mahavishnu, who is the one who invites the Lord to come into the world. Please come down here. So here he is, propitiating his Shalagram Shila with tulsi leaves and water, begging the Lord, please come and save the conditioned souls. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard his plea, and he appeared in the house of Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra. And then he started his campaign, which is a very simple campaign. Campaigns that are simple pass on easily as well. So ours has two parts. The first part is chant Hare Krishna. The second part is teach it to others. The first part is chant Hare Krishna. The second part is the first part is second part is second part is first part is first part is first part is second part is first part is. And in that way he went all over South India, and Kaiviraj Goswami says this sample of how he talked to Kurma Brahma, saying, you stay at home. Kurma Brahma said, I'm coming, I take sannyas too. I'll just leave everything and come behind, which is what some people think Krishna consciousness is. They see devotees on the street and they say, but how do I give up everything? No, you don't. You stay where you are, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Kurma Brahma, but you add this principle. You teach it to others. You go around and you show this mercy to other people. And by that process, you'll grow into an actual mature devotee of the Lord and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So not only did they spread it, but Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu opened a marketplace. And that's an even bigger concept, because marketplace means you got to brainstorm. How are we going to get these people? It means you have to make incremental improvements. You have to think about it. What do people want? How do I say it in such a way that they'll take it? This is how Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda were thinking. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rearranged his whole life for this. He was living happily in Navadvip as the prince of Navadvip. Everything perfect. Perfect mother, perfect friends, perfect reputation, everything. And one day he just said, I can't stand seeing the people suffer because some people aren't getting it. So he ran away and took sannyas. And the reason was to expand the marketplace. It's all about the marketplace. And they came together to brainstorm, to think about how to make it bigger, how to make it better, how to catch everybody in this loving network that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought to the world, which is the only salvation for anyone in the world, to come in contact with this process of Krishna consciousness in its pure form. So he had this mission to every town and village, and we see the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dancing down the streets of Miami, Florida, which may sound funny, but now it's happening. It may sound funny, but you can go to Fifth Avenue and watch. I think of the last time I was at New York Rath Yatra. Actually, I think of the first time, 1976. Prabhupada was there. Jayananda Prabhu was there. It was his last Rath Yatra. Of course, he did the Los Angeles one before he passed away. He helped set it up, but that was the last one that he put together and danced in, and we went to that Rath Yatra. And it went down Fifth Avenue. Now you can't get a permit for Fifth Avenue. Nobody can, except for Hare Krishna, because we're grandfathered in. That's how New York works. And probably a few cheesecakes on the side to grease their palms so that they allow us in. But I remember the last time I was there walking down the street, and it was very hot, and we were going down this very materially opulent street. And as the doors would open, the blast of cold air from Gucci's from all the designer shops would come rushing out into the hot air where we were having our Rath Yatra. And I was thinking they're spending so much money, so much energy to keep those places freezing cold so people would come in and look at their stuff. And nobody looked happy. They were all coming out the doors to see what's going on out here. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, as Keshava Bharati Maharaj was pointing out, it's noticeable. It's the one thing people are looking for. It's the one thing you can't get anywhere else. You can't get it on University Avenue or Fifth Avenue or anywhere else. And he's making it available in every town and village. That's our legacy. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement became hidden, and this is an oddity that something so wonderful, something so important then could just disappear. But this is the nature of the material world. Everything gets screwed up here. As soon as you bring out something pristine, then everyone wants to change it. And Prabhupada was constantly fighting against that tendency, even in his disciples, to change everything and move it this way and that way. And in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna tells Uddhava that this is why he has to renew the parampara. And he says it in the Bhagavad Gita also, because it gets changed. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, not long after he brought it, then became hidden. And no one was engaged in the marketing of the holy name until Bhaktivinoda Thakur in 1891 came forward and renewed that marketplace of the holy name, brought it back to life. The great visionary Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of whom we are under the umbrella, the spiritual umbrella of. So at Surabhi Kunj, that marketplace was officially opened, and he revived the principles and mood of Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya to make sure that everyone would get a place in the Sankirtan movement, and he uttered the words, Jiva Krishna Nam Sarva Dharma Sar, which is the motto of the mission statement of ISV. That is, to serve all living entities by widely spreading the holy name of the Lord. There's a lot in that mission statement, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also prayed for help. And this is the prerogative of those who are engaged in spreading Krishna consciousness, and that is to pray, please help me. In fact, that's why it's such powerful yoga, is because we can't do it without help, and therefore we're compelled to constantly ask, please help me, please help me. Even when we're on the street going from person to person, we chant constantly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was praying, please send help. And he got in his family a ray of Vishnu, a personality who was so powerful that he could assimilate all the knowledge in perfect way. He understood how to represent it to the world and so forth. And we're the recipients of that, coming down through Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mercy. And he also predicted that a great personality would appear to take it all over the world. Meanwhile, these great pure devotees, although Mahaprabhu's movement had gone underground, it was hidden, there's always somewhere some great personality who is keeping the vibration going. In the light of the Bhagavad, Prabhupada speaks about how, actually, it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada brings it out in the light of the Bhagavad, how sometimes there are waterfalls that appear, and other times during other seasons, there's no water in the waterfall, they're empty. So similarly, sometimes great sadhus, they speak and they give it out to everybody, and other times they're silent. So some of the great personalities like Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj were keeping that pure vibration going. And they're like the batteries behind the engine, behind the big ship that's going across the ocean, that purity of the holy name. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who took shelter of Gaur-Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, then fully engaged himself in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. That was his vision. Before he did so, he sat and chanted 1 billion names out in the jungle with no proper dwelling place, a little umbrella over his head when it started to rain, eating very simply. And then he had a vision. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva called him out and said, come out and give mercy to everyone else. So he began his mission, and there was some consternation after both his gurus, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was his father, but his primary guru and instructor, and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj both passed away. He was wondering, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And then he was inspired internally to come out and take a stand, make a stand. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked everyone to do, make a stand. Become a guru yourself in your realm and do everything that you can to spread this movement. Take a risk, stand up for it. So all over India, the Gaudiya Math was wildly successful, and then he sent contingencies to Burma and also to England, which were marginally successful, but the push was already there, the idea that it should go all over the world, which was never actually attempted before, because no one could even conceive how that would happen, because India at the time was considered to be a lowly entity. The philosophy of the culture of India had been demeaned so systematically by the British that even the Indians themselves had low self-esteem as far as their culture went. They were morphing it into all the other kinds of ideas like Brahmoism, which was a mixture of impersonalism and Christianity and some Hinduism and blah, blah, blah. And so Bhaktivinoda Thakur and these great acharyas like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they come out and then they make it crystal clear. That's how everyone else can know what it is and also what it isn't. And that's what Siddhanta means. It means not just what it is, it means also what it isn't. It has to be very clear. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his, as he digested what it needed to be done and then brought out his realizations, particularly grabbed onto Rupa Goswami's principles of yukta vairagya. And he looked around the whole world and he saw, how is it? What are the vehicles through which everyone can get this mercy? And he took this principle of books, which is not just a sentimental idea, but actually it's practical. It's something, a book, one book can actually change a whole country, it can change a whole society, one book. Because someone takes the trouble to codify ideas, put them, bind them together in one place. And then you've got something, oh, somebody wrote something, it's them. Most people, they just bring things up. You know, why don't you do it like this? Why don't you fix that? Why don't you that? Why don't you get out of here? You know, but if somebody actually takes the time to write it down and put it, it's like, this is this, that is that. That follows this follows that, and that's how it works. Slam, it's in one book. That's powerful. Then people pick it up. Jivas are smart. Human beings are smart. That's what they are. They're built to be smart. And so they can pick up a book and they can look at it and go, okay, there's something behind this. And once they start reading, they go, I get it and I can do it. And then a movement starts. And it only takes one person to start a movement. And if you distribute one book in a society that's downtrodden, that is being subjected to, that is being suppressed, where people are being suppressed, living entity will get the book, he'll read the book, say, I will be suppressed no longer. They'll start a revolution. And it's exactly what the books are supposed to do. Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abadyapi. It says right in the text of the book, Narada Muni, this is meant to create a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's mantra to Srila Prabhupada was a fully realized sutra that he gave him, which represented how to pass on this legacy. And if you ever get money, print books. There's a lot in this statement, because the Gaudiya Math had been through so much. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had seen what happened after they became opulent. Someone gave a big donation. One of his disciples, he had tons of money. He had a very successful business, and the money just didn't stop coming in. There was no end to it. So the Bagh Bazaar temple in Calcutta, he could build it, and then he said, I don't like that room, tear it down, build it again. He had so much money, and this disciple kept building and building until it was a perfectly opulent, everything in the right place temple, which especially at that time was a wonder of the world. And as soon as it was built, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur detected in his followers a kind of change of consciousness, which is, that's my room, that's not your room. And they became, and he made this statement, better we tear down the marble, sell it, and print some books. For the principle of giving mercy and not becoming insular and thinking, I've got mine now, to hell with everybody else. So this statement, if you ever get money, print books, comes from this legacy. It comes from the fact that Krishna consciousness was suppressed for so many years, and it was perverted by people who had ill motives and so forth. And when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in his purity brought it out, and then made this principle that it should be spread all over the world, reopen the marketplace. He said, if you ever get money, print books. If you ever get money, what? Print books. And I just read a conversation with Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, in which Srila Prabhupada was saying that, don't make me like Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great went around, he'd conquer a country, then he'd move on so fast that the country that he just conquered would fall back into the hands of the original populace. And he said, at least in my lifetime, don't make me like Alexander the Great. He said, good management is required to keep places going. Don't spread too fast all these temples everywhere. He said, which was his normal default statement, therefore, I am stressing book distribution so much. He said, because, and then Tamal Krishna Maharaj was making suggestions, and he said, yes, because, it's when it goes in someone's hands, yes, it is permanent. The damage is done. People get the book. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, and it's like a deity goes into their home, right? Prabhupada said, yes. So this mood comes from our acharyas. It's coming from Krishna ultimately, that in the Bhagavad Gita he says, give this to everybody. Preach the message. Become dear to me in this way. And this is the mood that comes out of the great acharyas. So Prabhupada said, I took this from his mouth. I took up this from his mouth, that he is very fond of books. And that's exactly how one makes advancement in spiritual life. You figure out what the Vaishnava likes, and then you just grab onto that and say, that's what I'm going to do. And as soon as you do that, then you're in the right line. Srila Prabhupada spread the marketplace all over the world in amazing ways. He accounted for every penny that he spent coming over on the Jaladuti. He kept records of everything he did every day. When he came to America, he didn't misspend one farthing. And they still have farthings? Is that English? There's no more farthings in India, right? Okay, but it's a saying. He didn't misspend one farthing. And the idea was that he wanted to manage everything so the Krishna consciousness movement could spread. He came out with this pamphlet that says 60 volumes of elaborate English version and all over the world for scientific knowledge of God. And that's before he had anything more than 3 volumes. And he had no money and no prospect at the time, no help. But this is how he was thinking. So Prabhupada said, by printing books, we can actually inject our movement into the masses of people all over the world. Yes, this is altogether possible just by the distribution of books. The ideology gets out into the society and it will spread. So it's an injection process. I mentioned here how Thomas Paine injected the ideas about the need for an American revolution. These are the times that try men's souls. It was an essay he wrote. It came out in a pamphlet, and he was selling it. He sold it to most of the population of America at the time, and according to historians, that's what incited the revolution. You got to have a pamphlet. Got to have at least a pamphlet for a revolution to start. Every one of them, they have all based on this. It's organized. It's in a book. It gets out there. Cuba, Fidel Castro, history will absolve me. This was his essay he wrote in prison. And he had to smuggle it out of jail with his fiancée who would come to visit him. He wrote it in lime juice, which can't be seen on paper until you expose it to the sun. And then it gets reconstituted. And she went out and dutifully compiled it and gave it to the masses. And by the time he came out of prison, there was a revolution waiting to happen because of the books. It's the books. So book burning takes place in many societies when they want to suppress the population because they know knowledge is dangerous, especially when it's in books. So Prabhupada said, print as many books in as many languages and distribute throughout the whole world. Why? Revolution. He wanted it to be injected into the society. This is very subversive. It doesn't look like it in America. Because in America, people are they're so lost in sense gratification and thinking that everything's going to go on forever like this, that we can get whatever we want over Amazon Prime. You can get it the next day with no shipping, and we can do whatever we want, say whatever we want. People are bored with it even. They don't even consider freedom anymore. When the government cracks down on all their freedoms, they just say, no big deal, I got Amazon Prime, it's okay. So they're really in a stupor right now. They don't understand that this is a window of opportunity. It's not ordinary that the citizens get so much freedom. It's not ordinary. It won't last. The laws of nature never hold one position for very long. It will shift. It has to shift. So this is the time, especially in America, for mass distribution of books. This is the time. If you go to Vietnam, if you go to China, they will not let you step into the street and distribute books. You will be arrested by some gunda hired by the government who will say, you can't do that because we control what you think. But it's still possible in America to walk up to these intoxicated people on University Avenue. Every one of them last night was like, and just slip them a book and say, take this home. When you sober up, take a look at it, Mr. So print as many books in many languages, distribute throughout the whole world. Prabhupada said, just like the communists, he noticed these things. It's a historical thing. It's a technique. It's an actual process for changing the world. It's not just that, because our books or it's some sentimental thing. No, this is a method for actually changing the entire world. Watchtower magazine, they're very organized. Incrementally over the years, they've made improvements. It's a huge organization. They get out millions and millions of literatures every single month. And they print all their own stuff. They have all their own ink. They have all their own paper. So if they can do that, we can also make incremental improvements too, and we must. This is our legacy. We must do this. This is where the big service is. Holy Bibles everywhere. And it doesn't have that much in it. Advaita Prabhu, when I drove with him up to Sacramento last time, I said, so what are you reading? He said, Bible. And I said, how is it? And he goes, terrible. Nothing against the Bible. It's actually a wonderful book. And he said that too. But there are all these histories in there that are, talk about really horrible things that happen in history and really horrible things some people did to one another. The Bible is a very important book. It's affected people in a very positive way all over the world. But the amount of information there that has inspired people is a little bit scanty compared to what you can get in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The information. So the Buddhism started with just a little sermon, and there's some sketchy ideas about what was in that sermon, and it spread all over the world. The Bible spread all over the world. Christianity, because of the Bible, which is Buddhism started from here, Bible started from here, Bhagavatam starts from here. So what is the base we're starting from? These literatures are so important. But the Bible's getting out there systematically. 196 countries, 2 billion Bibles. They're doing it all over the world. There's a reason for that, and that's why there's so many people that are developing faith in Christ and so forth, which is a good thing. So Time Magazine, Is God Dead? Prabhupada wanted the circulation, he said, a Back to Godhead magazine to be like Time Magazine and so forth. And then he said, so kindly help me, this is my request. Here's the lifeline. Grab that and you're going to be fine. Just say, I'm going to help Prabhupada do this thing. I want all my students vigorously try for this book distribution. Krishna says there's no servant more dear. Lord Chaitanya said, become a spiritual master. You have full permission now to do this. Full permission from the Lord. And this is a direct order from the Lord, which means it's a manifestation of his internal energy, which means it'll take you to see the Lord face to face. And just by doing it, you get superior strength and knowledge in Krishna consciousness, just by trying. So it's a rapid way to make spiritual advancement. Artwork by Shraddha Devi Dasi. You can give her a hand. In fact, for all these PowerPoints, Shraddha Devi Dasi, this is her hand. It's the presentation and the development of all of these. I thank you very much. You've done so much work. 4 laws of book distribution. I hope you all know them without me reciting them, but go ahead. First, number 1 is? Your sadhana must be strong. Your sadhana must be strong. Number 2 is? Okay, now let me teach you a trick for number 2. In the military, when the sergeant, the general, whatever it is, says, "Are you awake?" Whatever, the way they answer is they say, "Sir, yes, sir." Try that. Sir. That's military, and that's what you got to have to really spread something. You got to have this enthusiasm, military enthusiasm, just for number 2. So the number 2 law of book distribution is. No, I'll show you how it goes. Like this. Hold on. This is it. Are you ready? Number 2 is? Number 2 is? A little more. Number 2? That's right. Because you can't distribute books you don't have. And it's physically impossible. So we made facility here. When we designed this building, we said, what should be the central point? Through which, what's the core part of this building? It's the book room. And when Prabhupada first started his movement, then he said, I want a printing press. Buy a building. That's why he said, buy a building. Whoever buys it first gets the printing press. So Boston, the devotees there, they went all out. They didn't have any money, but they went all out. Somehow they got a mortgage. They probably got a building. Said, okay, put the printing press there. Then he immediately came there. I just heard this from Balai Dasi, who was there at the time when Prabhupada came, 1967. So he comes in, and the printing press is there, and he had the photographic laboratory. He had a stitching, binding, everything in this building. So Prabhupada comes in, and he says, Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Gajarja Ashtotar Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. When he saw the printing press, he offers his obeisances to his spiritual master. He said, this will be the heart of ISKCON, called ISKCON Press. And then Advaita, who is Balai's husband, who was in charge of the printing press, said, but Prabhupada, you're the heart of ISKCON. Prabhupada said, the printing press is my heart. Therefore, he said, you must always keep it clean, and you must always keep it running. So get books is a principle. Once you have them, then you have something to give to other people, the most important thing to give to other people. And now we have all these books in foreign languages. Every time we go out, we should have these books. Because if we miss one person who speaks Arabic, and then we reach through and there's only Korean and nobody knows the difference between Mandarin and Korean, learn the difference, for heaven's sake. Figure out what these books are so you can distribute them. And make sure you have the foreign books, because they got to get them. This is how we're going to get into these closed societies. Get them while they're here. They'll accidentally take them home in their suitcase, and we want to stick it to the man. You don't know about that. We're from the 60s. Stick it to the man. You got to stick it to the man. Microphone. Give him the mic. In Russia, there was a completely closed society. No other literatures were allowed, but the devotees, including Devamrita Swami, would smuggle in 5 books at a time. They'd cover them in aluminum foil and put them into the engine block. And if they were caught, they could have been killed or put in jail or just disappeared for life or been tortured to death. But they did it anyway. They smuggled these books into the country. And people would take one book, they'd read the whole thing, they'd make a little tick mark on it, and they'd pass it on to a neighbor. And sometimes they found later these books with hundreds and thousands of little tick marks that was being passed around. And then the devotees got in, somehow they smuggled in a whole truckload of books. They would photocopy the books. Give them a working microphone back there, just in case. Vietnamese, Farsi. The more you show, the more you sell is number 3, right? Can we hear it twice? You don't have to do the military thing on all of them, just number 2. Number 3? And number 4 is that you must, where did I go? You must organize. Did I miss it? I guess it's way down the line here, huh? There it is. You must organize. What's number 4? You must organize. Yeah, because it's everyone just normally in the material world just stays the same, but you actually have to purposefully make improvements every month. In your sadhana and in your book distribution and the way the temple is managed and everything, you purposefully have to decide, I'm going to make these improvements. Otherwise, the material energy will not just hold you back, she'll ruin everything that you're already doing. So you have to be proactive. This is what's exciting about being a human being. So if once we organize as devotees for book distribution, and Prabhupada in his 7 purposes of ISKCON specifically said, with a view toward achieving aforementioned purposes to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. This came at the very end. He said, with a view toward achieving all the purposes of ISKCON, this printing and distribution of literature would be done. So organization, goals are potent. We've done it in North America. Just in the last 3 years, have been huge increases just from a little bit of organization and having goals. Here's our first book room at Recipients Prabhu's house, triumphantly showing the first book room. Let's come have a little hand for that. So we want to use all the different things, modern implements, and of course the Maharaj's presentation today about cooperation was very well received. Through teamwork, encouraging one another, we can make wonderful things happen. And these are just basic principles of the MSF that we talk about in various places and then implement, which you're all doing here already. So now I'm going to get to, hey, here's some tips and ideas to ponder. I just like the picture. Pick the right fruits. Okay, so now we're getting into some practical training. And so one principle that you've heard previously, but it's worth remembering over and over again, is to pick the right fruits. When you go to a tree, look for the fruits that are already ready to go. And I have a peach tree now, I'd like to say. I got a peach tree recently. And it's already giving peaches. But I have to go out there and test them a little bit because I can't tell which ones are actually ripe. So I go out there, I look at them first, and I say, that looks pretty close to ripe. Other ones I can tell, they're not even close, right? So the ones that are, I just feel them a little bit. I say, okay, you're ready, you're coming with me. And the other ones, I go, you stay a little while. You stay a few days, maybe a week, something like that. And so similarly, when we're out distributing, it's not that you have to convince everybody. You have to, it's more of a process of selection, which is what's mentioned. Ishvare taradineshu balisheshu dusatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yakaroti samadhyamaha. The preacher, the Madhyamadikari, is going out and selecting. He's looking to see, what category are you in? Are you a demon? If you are, I'm going to go around you. You want to avoid the demons artfully. Don't get wrapped up in all these, waste a bunch of time. If somebody has a demoniac spirit, it's not like you have to stand there and try to convert them, on University Avenue. It's not going to happen. Just, take a path of least resistance, says the Bhagavatam, around those who have a demoniac spirit. They hate God, they hate you, they don't want you there anyway, to whatever degree. And then those who are innocent and open, you pour in as much mercy as possible, right? So here's an example of a ripe fruit. You see on the left-hand side. He was a recipient of Bhagavad Gita, just happened to walk into the New York Rath Yatra. And you can see he looks like a ripe fruit, right? Yes or yes? Yes. Okay, here's an unripe fruit on the right. See the demeanor and so forth. And the poor brahmachari over there, he was there for half an hour trying to withstand the onslaught of this person's very overzealous presentation about a particular religious belief that he held. And so that's unripe fruit. So? Okay, so look for the ripe fruits. When you start seeing this come out in your face, you like with people who come out and they're very demonstrative in their expression of like, this is what I believe in. I say, if we had more people like you, people of faith like you're keeping the world afloat, it would be a better world to live in. Thank you very much for what you're doing. And then I get out of there as fast as I can. Okay, so core and explore. This is another tip. Just try some new things. 80% what works now, do it. Keep doing it, keep going out, but try new things. Don't get caught in a niche. Don't specialize and I only talk to these kind of people. I only do this kind of book. Take 20% of your time and energy to look into other avenues so you can expand. You'll find wonderful things. And we're going out for our own purification in a way to actually increase our own abilities in service to Krishna. So take some time to explore, not just do the core activities. Okay, our prime directive is? Our prime directive is? Correct. We're in the service business. We're giving service to others. And here's Krishna washing the feet of Sudama Brahman. This is the mood when we go out to actually serve the living entity, to serve Krishna within the heart of the living entity. And we're in this service mood. That's a pleasing mood to be in, a service of others. Don't go out with a fruitive mentality. And we're Krishna's instruments. We're instruments for Krishna. That's easy. If you try to go out and be the doer and be the big cheese, that's hard. And you'll get pushed down. But if you go out as an instrument of Krishna in a humble mood, you'll be very successful. Always remain. We go out for? We do service for? I save one soul at a time. Treat people with? Offer kind? Focus on? Yes. So develop the habit of expressing sincere gratitude and thanks to people you meet, live with, and associate with. It's a way of life, actually. Be grateful for what you already have in your life and for the people you have and the situations that you're in, and express that. And when you take it out with you on the street or wherever else you go, people will notice, oh, this person's different. That's what people want to buy. They don't necessarily want to buy a book. They want to buy this mood. They want something positive and progressive. So preaching means? Don't be. Express. Practice. Make people feel special. Because they are. Every individual is a special person, has an eternal relationship with Krishna. So Prabhupada was an ambassador of goodwill, and he deputized all of us to be ambassadors of goodwill. Now he said there's sufficient merit in these books. If you just present them as they are, people will take them. So here's the Bhagavad Gita, and here's the presentation. There's many ways to distribute books. This is a template, and if you follow this template when you're presenting to, especially to non-Indians, you'll be successful. Although these basic principles work as well. I'm just talking about straight on explaining a Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so first is radar. And if you're driving here today, you might have been a little cautious about your speed because there's men with these and some radar guns, and they shoot your car with the radar gun, and the reading comes back on the little meter, and it tells how fast you were going. And if you're going over the speed limit, then they chase after you and give you a ticket, and you got to go to court and the whole thing. So you have the same radar in your hand. There's a power in your hand. Let's try it. Hold your hand up. Point it at somebody, but not all at me because I can't absorb it all. Point it at one person. And then when I give the mantra, then say the mantra and you'll activate your radar. Ready? Hold up your hand. 1, 2, 3. Hi! Hi! Now look around the room. What kind of reading did you get? Look at the readings, they're off the chart. Everyone's smiling. That's because everyone in here is a ripe fruit. Now, if you try this, don't even go out to distribute books. Just when you're walking on your way to somewhere, be a little brave, try this. Just when you see people walking, hi, hi, hi. You'll notice that you'll get different readings back from people. Some people will go like, and other people, they'll just pretend like they didn't see you. That's rare. And other people, they'll kind of like, should I do this? Is this an axe murderer here trying to pull me in? They might like, hi. And other people, a percentage of the population that you meet, they'll go, hi, or hi. They'll smile, something sweet will come back to you. That's your radar. When you're going around looking for the right fruits, you don't have to hit 100 out of 100. You just need a few out of 100. In baseball, if a man can get up with a stick at the plate and hit this ball 3 times out of 10, he'll be a multi-millionaire. They'll pay him millions, $40 million a year if he can get 3 hits every time he gets out of bat out of 10. 2 hits out of 10, still he'll be a millionaire. Just for getting 2 hits out of 10. So you don't have to get every single person, but if 2 people out of the 10, like you say, hi, Gita, hi. See, you find somebody like Gita Priya. Okay, so hand power, use your hand. You have to practice this. What I'm seeing a lot, I looked around, sometimes devotees are just running up to people with a book, say, here, take this, right in their face. As soon as they're walking down the street, say, here it is, take it. They don't know who you are. They don't know what the book is. And their mind is programmed to accept and reject. So when they're walking on the street or anywhere else, the mind will go, no, say no. That's what they're taught by their mom. That's what they're taught by their friends. Everyone says if somebody offers you something, they're going to want your money, and you don't know what's going to happen. You could end up in a cult. And when the book comes in their face, it says, here, they just go, nope, sorry, got to go. Really rare somebody actually stops. Although the power of the more you show, the more you sell is so powerful that you might get 1 out of 100 to stop like that. But if you want to increase your odds, use your radar. And when somebody comes by and you go, hi, and they say, hi, now you know at least you got a good reading. You got a ripe fruit. So next thing is to qualify people. So here's a couple things. I just noticed I got into a real rhythm when I was down in Los Angeles passing out those books. And so one thing I noticed is first I'd offer a compliment, and then I would ask a question. Compliment and a question to qualify them. So one thing is I notice something about them, and I'd make a compliment like, I would say, nice shirt. I like your shirt. By the way, Selva, I do like your shirt. Do you notice Selva's shirt? It says, I love and support ISV. And I like your shirt too. Shri Gopal, nice shirt. Says Chad. And I like your beads. I like those beads. Nice beads. Can you look around and see something about somebody that you would appreciate? Come on, do it really quick. If you notice something about somebody right away, you make a connection. And then right after that, one thing that I say to qualify, I tell where I'm from first. I'll say, if I'm not in San Francisco, I'll go, San Francisco, where are you from? San Francisco, where are you from? Where are you all from? Okay, Fremont, whatever. Say where you're from, and then to the next person next to you, and then ask them where you're from. Say, I'm Fremont, where are you from? Turn. Okay, so there's a compliment. You're noticing something about them. Let's go, I like the beads. I like the necklace. San Francisco, where are you from? This is a way to qualify people, because then as soon as you say, where are you from, that's not a yes or no question. If you ask a yes or no question, then they'll go no, and they keep walking. No, like keeps the door closed. But if you say, where are you from? And then they'll say, I'm from Timbuktu. And you go, Timbuktu, I love Timbuktu. All right. Your reaction is, all right, really? You're from, they say, I'm from Seattle. So Seattle, okay, Seattle. And then you can shake hands. Now, someone was telling me last night that they've been practicing like this kind of shaking hands. See, watch. Come on. Oh, I feel much better. Thank you very much. It's practically irresistible. In fact, sometimes people from way down the street, you go like this, and they go like, all right, I'll come back, and then it's like you've made a contact. So, find out what's something unique on them. Then, as I'm from such and such, I'm from such and such a place, where are you from? Then they say, perfect. That's the reaction. They say, I'm from Denver. And they go, oh, Denver, great. Now the book comes out. If you just throw books in people's face, they're walking along, you go, here, here, here. They don't know why they're getting it. There's no qualification involved. Take a few seconds to sort them out and then qualify them of why they're going to get the book. Is it, why am I getting the book? I'm from Wisconsin. I'm from out of town. Whatever it is, it's the reason they get the book. Next thing is, trust the hand. It means put the book right in their hand, look for the opening, and put it in their hand. As soon as they're a little bit open, everything like that, hand the book over with a mantra attached. As it's flying through the air, we say, books on yoga and meditation that show you how to get free from stress. There's a lot of mantras, but here's one that we say while the book is making its arc. See, it's making an arc, and it's heading for someone's hand. Opposable thumb, fingers can grab, and that's what it does. Eyes see, ears hear, feet walk. The hand just grabs stuff. And a lot of times the guy's thinking, should I, shouldn't I? Probably not. And the hand goes, I'll take it. So you just hand it over. And then sometimes if they won't take it at first, we go like that. And then the hand goes, I gotta take it now. I gotta take it. Did you see what he just did? He flipped it around. I'm taking it. I don't care what you say. So you put the book in their hand. Now, as you're handing it over, books on yoga and meditation show you how to get free from stress. You're telling them what's in it for them as you're handing the book over. And by the time it hits their hand, you're saying the word stress. And then comes one of the most powerful principles of communication, and that is that the question mark is the most powerful punctuation mark in any language. Because if you write a 50-page email to somebody and you don't include a question mark, they don't have to write you back. But if you put one question mark, they're obligated. And next time you see them a year later, say, why didn't you write me back? I put a question mark in there. So the question I ask people as soon as I put the book in their hand is, you've heard of stress before, right? And what do they say? Yeah. And it doesn't matter what they say, because some people say yes, some people say no, and the answer is the same. I say, really, you don't look stressed, you look very spiritual. Now that looks spiritual. And this is a point at which it comes to a kind of a spiritual platform, because I'm looking at them as spirit souls at this point, and they say, really, and it's a compliment also. People calm down, and they also give up their kind of whimsical kind of nature. I'm noticing them, and I say, yeah, you don't look stressed, though. You look spiritual, and you look very balanced. I'm looking at them, and I'm appreciating that they're actually a soul. And that's how I'm talking to them at that point. And when you tell them this, they actually start to sober up. And they'll start, appreciating you for appreciating them, because nobody appreciates people in this world. It's all superficial if they do, and if you actually take the time to look at their soul and appreciate the fact that they're a soul, that they will make a connection with you on a spiritual level. And then the next question should be illegal, because it's so powerful. So don't tell anybody. I'm going to just show you this for 1 second and black it out in case anybody's walking by outside. Because if they see this question and it gets out, who knows what might happen. This question is so powerful that when you ask it to people, you can cut out most of the other stuff I'm telling you today and just keep this one mantra. But if you ask this to people, what it does is it changes your relationship with them. The reason people don't want to buy a book from you is because they're stubborn. And because they're thinking, I'm independent, I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want anybody telling me what to do. And this person is intervening in my life, and they're making a presentation to try to tell me what to do, but I'm not going to do it. That's their psychology, right? When I ask them, what's your secret? I become their student. They become my guru. And that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be in your presentation. You want to be the submissive person who's learning from them, not condescending, not teaching them everything in the world. You're saying, so what's your secret? How did you get like this? How did you become this spiritual person that you are, that we've already established? And you say, what's your secret? And then you'll notice many people become introspective and they'll start, well, I live a good life. Or I try to be nice to everybody. Or I'm grateful. Or I eat healthy. And in the mode of ignorance, they'll say, I smoke marijuana. And they'll kind of laugh about it. But they have a secret. There's something every living entity is trying to do to get into this ananda position. And so you extract it from them. You say, what mode are you in? Basically, you're asking, what mode are you in? And they go, I drink. It's like, okay, you're in the mode of ignorance. Cool. But ask this question very sincerely and appreciate what they say. What is your secret? Now, if they don't have a secret, you can suggest one for them. Because some people say, I don't know. They're not used to this kind of thing. And say, I don't know. They say, you must just come from a good family. No, I don't. Then you're just a natural. Then you're just a natural. Say that one. Okay, so at that point, after they've revealed their secret and now they've become elevated to the position of a spiritual being who has a secret in life of how they are spiritual, that's when I take their book back out of their hand to show them their book. And I say, I'm taking this back, and I say, here, I'll show you, everyone say show. Show. We're not selling, we're not giving, we're not distributing, we are showing. Here, I'll show you. Really? How fast are we doing it? Really? How fast are we doing everything out there? Really quick. Here, I'll show you really quick. Here, we'll do this really quick. I know you're in a hurry. I'm going to do this really quick. Even if they're all peaceful right now, you keep saying it's really quick what I'm going to do. Because their mind can take off at any second. It's ready to go. So you have to say, this is really quick. This is going to be so fast. It's 5 seconds because I know you're in a hurry. So I'm going to show you really quick. And now here's where the show and tell comes. Name dropping. On the back of the Bhagavad Gita, we have Thoreau. Emerson. Gandhi. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Einstein. The Beatles. Now, we have 3 of those in the back of the book. The other ones are verified people who have read, studied, appreciated the Bhagavad Gita. We just throw those in, just like you're taking names out of a hat and throwing them in the air, because that creates a credibility in the book. And you just do that really quick. Now turn to the Sanskrit in the middle of the book and say, look, this comes from the language Sanskrit. And they say, it's an ancient language. And I show them the Sanskrit and they say, here, can you read that? Can you read that? And they say, no. And I say, I was just testing you. And they say, but it's been translated hundreds of times into English. And out of all the versions, this one's become the most popular academically. This one's become the most popular? And so then I show them University of Southern California and Georgetown University. Know where these points are, go through it at home, and learn how to navigate through the book so you can find these really quick. How fast? Yeah, because if you take time to fumble through, and you look like you don't know what you're doing and where to find it, they'll just say, I gotta go. Okay, so here's one, we show the changing bodies, and we say, look, we start here, we end up here, we're just passing through life's a quick journey. And then you can ask them, where are you in this? Where are you in all this? And they'll point to a certain place. And then on the next page, there's a sage it's a Vidya Vinaya Sampane. And I'll say, that's what happened. That a self-realized person treats everyone with respect. Please repeat. Because he or she sees that God's in everyone's heart. That he or she sees that the Spirit's in everyone's heart. You might adjust it according to your audience. If you say God, people might freak out. If they say Spirit, people can get that. So they like this respect for every living being. It's a very powerful verse. And another one is the horses. And you can show the horses and you say, look, each one of these horses, like the senses, it drags us in different directions. But through yoga, we can determine our own direction in life. And then we say, you've heard of karma before, right? Yes. What does it mean to you? And then I wind up, and I say, whoa, I really like the way you put things. If more people thought like you, this world would be a better place to live in. Try it again. You've heard of karma? Ask me. You ask me, whatever answer I give you about karma, you wind up and you go, whoa, I really like the way you put things. If more people thought like you, this would be a better world to live in. Somebody asked me. Yeah? No, ask me what it means. a little bit jumped the gun. What does it mean to you? Yeah. That's an important question. What does it mean to you? Oh, stuff happens and things go around and around and you know what I mean? Whoa, I really like the way you put things. If more people thought like you, this would be a better world to live in. So we were in Baltimore, and we went to this it was a kind of a ritzy little shopping place, picturesque, all kinds of art galleries and stuff like that. And I met these three young women who were out shopping they were bridesmaids for the person who was going to get married, and they were doing something, I don't know. And so I showed them the books and everything like that, and then they told me they were Christians, so at least the one who was looking at the book. And I said, so you've heard of karma before, right? And she said, yeah, I've heard of it. I said, what does it mean to you? And she says, well, I'll tell you what it means to some people. Indicating that, it's like, I don't believe in it. It's like some people think, there's this law of action and reaction, or what you do to people comes back to you. And the whole crowd of devotees, there were about 35 of us standing around, everyone all at once went, whoa! Really like that. If more people thought like you, and she's like, that's not what I think, But by that time, it didn't matter because she was like appreciating that, she was in on this wave. Okay, so karma, what does it mean to you? Whoa, that's a great explanation. And you can show them this picture. Look, generosity breeds generosity, violence breeds violence. And then comes the humor. And so we ask people, so what do you do professionally? Everyone say that. They say, I'm a civil engineer, I'm a Sunday school teacher, I'm a dancer. And then we say, really? This guy used to be a civil engineer. And point to the picture. Really? This guy used to be a Sunday school teacher. Really? This guy used to be a dancer. And just like that, they laugh, and you're still holding the book, right? Right at the point when they laugh, that's when you hand the book back. And we say, we don't sell it, we take a donation, but we don't need the money. The reason we ask is, it's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to all the previous teachers who have given their lives to pass it down, and it allows you to enter into the knowledge. So you say, hand the book back, and you say, we don't sell it. We just take a donation. We don't need the money. Okay, everyone follow me. We don't sell it. We just take a donation. We don't need the money. Come on, use the hands. We don't need the money. It's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to the previous teachers and allows you to enter into the knowledge. And people really appreciate that. Last night, a woman I was talking to, she said, so what's the money for? I already told her once, but what's the money for? What's the money for? And I said, it's not for us. We don't need the money. It's a tradition. When you give something for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to the teachers. So I very plainly said, it's not for us. We don't need it. It's for you. And she was like, oh, okay. Oh, I can appreciate that. And then she gave a donation. So then we say, do you believe in the power of prayer? After they buy the book, we say, do you believe in the power of prayer? Do you believe in the power of prayer? And they say? Yes. If they say yes, fine. If they say no, then I say, perfect, I'll give you a mantra. And then we say, okay, I'm going to give you this. It's a little hard to pronounce, but I'll say it one time. You can repeat, and you'll know how to do it. And then I say, are you ready? And hand them the mantra, and say, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. So last night when we were talking to some people out there, when it came to that part, did I call you over once? So I said, here's a child master at Bhakti Yoga. And I said, and she teaches this mantra to many people, so I'm going to have her teach you the mantra. So you please repeat after her. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then we give them some prasadam. Always have prasadam. There's no excuse not to have prasadam. And then get their contact information. And then take time to shake their hands, tell them what a pleasure it was to meet them, because our prime directive is? Okay, so now we're going to stand up and before you do this, because I want to test us here at ISV. I do this whenever we do these seminars, to see, the exercise is to see how quickly you can mobilize everyone in the room. And what we want is two equal rows of devotees, each facing one another, in the back of the room or wherever you decide once you jump up from this for the exercise. And on one side, everyone has a Bhagavad Gita in their hand. On the other side, everyone is empty-handed. Is that clear? Yes. And probably back in that area. So the books are somewhere in this room. That space is available. I can tell you in Baltimore, just recently, with about this many devotees, they were able to mobilize themselves within 61 seconds. Wait. And don't hurt anybody. On your mark, get set, go. Be careful, be careful. That's 30 seconds. "35 seconds. Hardback Bhagavad Gita, please, yeah. Just hardback Bhagavad Gita. "15 seconds to go to break the record. Raise your hand when you're all in place. 7 seconds. 6, 5, 4. Raise your hand if you're in place. Okay, congratulations. You beat the record by 1 second. Okay, so now on one side, you have to present to the person across from you and go through the methods. Now, one thing I want to show you is about body language, and that is this. Gita Priya, may I for a second? Thank you. So one thing I notice on the street, sometimes devotees are telegraphing all the way down the road what's going to happen. People can see. They're very aware of their environment, even though it looks like they're not looking. And if you're walking around like this, they see you from 3 blocks away. That guy's going to jump on me as soon as I come down. So the body language is not like this. Get the book out of your hand. Put it either under your arm or in your bag or off or on the table. Don't even hold a book. Sometimes I don't even hold anything because then I'm like this. I'm going, see? Can't hurt you. But if you're standing like this, now look at this body language like this. I'm leaning back, cool as a cucumber. I got my hands down like this. And the most I'll do to people, I'll say hi, like this, but I'm leaning back. I'm not after them. I'm not like, hi. How you doing? Don't chase them. Let them come to you, because if they're ripe fruits, they're going to come to you. Hang back. Everyone try this. Hang back. Cool as a cucumber, right? Okay, now it's like, hi. No book in the hand. Everyone's book's out of the hand or under your arm, and you're like, hi. Yeah, that's how you want to start. And if you'll find this, the more you hang back, the more detached you are, the more attracted they are to you. If you chase them, they'll go like, oh, they want me, I'm out of here. If you hang back, she'll say, I got something you want over here, but I'm not going to give it to you until I qualify you. You understand? Sometimes I'm like, where are you from? And then I don't bring it out until they tell me, and it's like, all right, I'll show you. Like, that's the mood that you're in here. You've got something valuable. You don't have to chase them. If they want it, they have to come after you, okay? So that's how you start like that, hi. So start with your body position, and then go through from this side, you're going to be presenting to the other side. Do the best you can to go through one full repetition of presentation of what you heard. You want to see it one more time? Yes. Okay. SKP? Okay. Hi. I like your necklace. San Francisco. Where are you from? Fremont. Great. I'll show you one too. Books on yoga and meditation show you how to get free from stress. You heard of stress before, right? Really, because you don't look stressed. You look very peaceful. You look spiritual. What's your secret? I knew it. I can tell. Here, I'll show you really quick. Thoreau. Somebody hold this for me. Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, the Beatles, they all read this. It's written in Sanskrit thousands of years ago. Can you read that? Just testing you. It's been translated over 500 times, and out of all the translations, this has become the most popular academically. You've heard of USC? Yes, you have. You heard of Georgetown University? In fact, you don't have to say you've heard of. You can just name them. You can just say, look, USC, Georgetown University, and then I say, here it is in a nutshell. Again, a nutshell means this is going to be really quick. And I turn to this page, which is the changing bodies. And I'll say, look, we start here, we end up here, we're just passing through. Where are you in all this? Let the record show that she said right here. And then a self-realized person treats everyone with respect because he or she sees that there's spirit within everyone's heart. And look at, the senses are like horses. They pull us in different directions, but yoga shows you how to go in the direction you want to go in life. You heard of karma before, right? What does it mean to you?
I don't know.
What goes around comes around.
What goes around and comes around.
Whoa! I really like the way you put things. If more people thought like you, it'd be a better world to live in. And what do you do professionally?
Dance.
A dancer. Look at this guy was a dancer. Now notice, for the record, she's laughing. It's like, as soon as she's laughing. Now some people, as soon as I show them that this guy used to be a dancer, some people will laugh right away, and the other 50% will say, really? And they say, no, not really, I'm just kidding. And then they start laughing. And as soon as they do, laugh. We don't sell it. Watch. When I'm handing the book back over, this mantra gets the book back in their hand, and taking it back out of their hand was a good thing to do anyway, because it's like it's their book, but you're showing it to them. Everything's detached. You're handing it back, and I say, we don't sell it. They like to hear that as soon as I'm handing it back. We don't sell it. As soon as they get it, we just take a donation. And we don't need the money. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it's an ancient tradition. It connects you to the previous teachers who have passed it down and allows you to enter into the knowledge. And then they say, well, how much should I give? And we have a few mantras we say, like, we try to keep it under 1,000. Or we try to keep it under 100. Or like these kinds of, it's just lighthearted, but it opens up the ceiling a little bit more. Or more straightforward approach, you can say, after shipping and handling, they cost us around $10. Anything you give over that is a donation that helps the monks and the mission and everything like that. And then once you get the donation, then you say, you believe in the power of prayer. Do you believe in the power of prayer?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'll show you this prayer in Sanskrit. It's meant to wake up love for God in your heart. Here's your card. Now, it's a little hard to pronounce, so I'll say it once and you can repeat and you'll know how to do it. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare.
Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Excelente! She's a natural. And now I give her some prasadam. This is for being so nice. Here's your prasadam. And thank you for taking your valuable time. And at this point, I would get her name and address. Always have a book, a pen, a device, something to take down their name and number, phone number, email address. And then thank you very much. It's been an honor meeting you. It's been an honor meeting you. Okay? So one repetition, don't worry. And on the other side, as the recipient, don't make any trouble. Just go through the straight thing. Don't say, what are you talking about? We'll deal with the aberrations later. There's all kinds of things that can go differently and sideways and every which way. But for this, we just want to get used to the template of how to do it. So help them along. You just want to go through as quickly to do the repetition, do this rep as fast as you can, okay? On your mark, get set. Stand back a little bit so they get a chance to be cool as a cucumber. Everyone cool as a cucumber, get your hands off the book. Get your hands off the book and lean back. Lean back like you're cool as a cucumber. Okay. On your mark, get set, go. Finished?
Yeah.
Finished? One more minute, finish up. "30 seconds to finish up if you haven't finished. You're not going both ways, only one way. Only one way, one way. If you're finished, raise your hand. Going one way. Finished? Okay. Okay, just step back a little bit, make a little space. Hey Rama, Hey Rama, Rama Rama. Excelente. Okay, any questions before we go the other way?
What do you do when you blank out?
What do you do when you blank out?
Blank out.
Okay, so in the beginning you will blank out because when you're practicing with friends, then it's a lot easier. You'll find this when you learn a shloka and you think you really know it and you sit up and give class, all of a sudden it's like, where'd it go? Because there's all this pressure coming at you from the other direction. It makes it fly off into another planet. So when you get out and you're in the public, when you learn this, you'll think, I got it down. I heard it 3 times. I've got it. And then you'll get there, and then it'll fly away, and you'll blank out. That's a good thing. Because it'll teach you, you got to have repetition.
Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect.
So the more reps you do with this, the better off you'll be. You can practice it at home. We'll make the template available so you can look at it and go over and over it. And then once you get this template down after practicing, and blanking out is good, I say, because you'll realize the weak point in your presentation. And then you can go back over it, just like any other kind of learning. And once you get the template down, then you can start innovating from the template. And then you can also, you'll notice sometimes that you have a really ripe fruit, and you just cut right to the end. And just, you'll truncate the whole presentation and say it in a few sentences because they're already ready. You don't have to go through the whole thing. But get used to doing this whole flow. And then you'll also get some rhythm to your whole presentation. And then you'll hear from other distributors how they're distributing, and you'll just incorporate that into your rhythm. So it's good to just practice over and over again. Any other question? Okay, yes.
What do you do if you feel really, really nervous?
What you do is on the back of your head, feel back here, right? Feel. There's a little switch. It's right under your shika or your ponytail, whatever you have. And you flip the switch and you turn from a fearing human being into a robot. Okay, everyone flip the switch and become a robot. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, robot. Now, robots don't have any feelings. They just do however they're commanded. So when I used to go on Sankirtan, a lot of times by myself, and I was thinking, this, that, I just go, okay, flip the switch, and I go, I don't care anymore. I don't care about feelings. I don't care what happens. I'm just going to approach everybody, and I'm just an instrument. I'm just a machine. I don't have feelings. So just flip it off, and when you get home, make sure to flip it back on before you walk in. Okay, let's go the other way. Now, you'll get to hear it now as a recipient. So start the other way. Everyone that was on the other side, have a book in their hand. Get lined up. Make sure you have it. Now, get in your position. Get the book out of your hand. Don't be holding the book in your hands. Hold it under your arm or somewhere else. And cool as a cucumber. Sit back like you're the most relaxed person in the world. Okay, on your mark, get set, go. Hare Krishna. Everyone can gather over here. Put the books back. I want to do tell you a couple more things and just take some feedback. So, now you know how to distribute a Bhagavad Gita to anyone, anywhere, at any time, and it's guaranteed. They will take, except Indians. When I hand the book over to Indians, I say, if I'm handing them a Bhagavad Gita, I put the book, as I'm putting the book in their hand, I say, this is not for you. This is not for you. This is not for you. Huh? This is not for you. 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 Because then as soon as they say, I know the Bhagavad Gita, I say, I know, it's not for you. This is for you to pass on to somebody else. It starts off with taking away the main reason that they say that I don't want to take the Bhagavad Gita. That's one approach. The other approach is, especially door to door, is not handing them anything and talking about the work that we're doing and acknowledging the fact that they already know about Bhagavad Gita and that we're doing work to spread the Bhagavad Gita everywhere and we're teaching Bhagavad Gita. And then I say we're collecting donations for that. And after that, then I bring the books out and show them. A third process is just to go ahead and present the Bhagavad Gita straightforwardly to Indians, but then point out the difference. That this, although they have the Bhagavad Gita, this is a unique Bhagavad Gita. It comes from the disciplic line, which is very faithful to Krishna's teachings of pure devotional service, and that you'll get more out of this Bhagavad Gita than any other Bhagavad Gita. As far as presenting Krishna book goes, a couple of things that I've done consistently over the years to present Krishna book. One is that I say these are spiritual books from India, and it has a collection of short stories that are meant to wake up pure love for God within the heart. And then I ask them a question, do you like Westerns? Do you know what a Western is? Do you know what a Western is? A Western is do you know what a Western is? What's a Western?
Like someone who's...
What's a Western movie? Cowboys and Indians. In America, everyone's like, Tushta, what's a Western?
Yeah, like I can't remember the names.
John Wayne. Western means cowboys, Indians, horses, cowboy hats, stuff like that. That's a Western. Shoot 'em up. They still have Westerns. Do you know what a Western is now? Okay. Do you like Westerns? Doesn't matter the answer, just say yes or no. Do you like Westerns? Yes. Great, this is an Eastern. So, for Americans, when you ask them that question, they'll get like, some people think like, no, I don't like Westerns. Great, this is an Eastern. They'll say, some people say, yeah, I love Westerns. They go, perfect, this is an Eastern. So this is like, it's a collection of short stories, and it's yoga. It's meant to wake, just by reading the stories, it wakes up love for God in your heart, or it elevates the consciousness to the highest level. And it's an ancient tradition just to read these stories. And I also show them the introduction by George Harrison, because believe it or not, I don't know how it's happening, but people still know who George Harrison is, or at least they've heard of the Beatles. At least 5 out of 10, maybe more, have heard of George Harrison. I say, see here, Apple Records, it's way before Apple Computer, and George Harrison helped us to print these, and then I go like that. But that thing for people from the West, and they say, do you like Westerns? It's an Eastern, and spiritual stories. It's very effective and very quick. And then just flipping through and showing them the pictures. Yes? Question? Can we have the other microphone too, please? Go ahead now, I'll repeat.
If they say that they like Westerns, if they say that they like Westerns and we say that it's Eastern, how will they take the book?
They like Westerns? It's a joke. Do you like Westerns? This is an Eastern. And they just kind of go, ah, ha, 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 once they get the joke. And it kind of just, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it works. So, Bhagavad Prabhu, when he presents, when he goes on the campus and things like that, he sees students, mostly. Go ahead, give him the microphone.
The reason for that is that there's one rasa that goes with every other rasa. Hasya rasa. Hasya rasa goes with every other rasa. Even if it's ghastly, you can say, make a joke about it, and then it relaxes the atmosphere.
Hasya Ras, there it is. It's bona fide. Okay, so small books, if you're distributing small books, you keep it really short and simple. Oh, did I say what I was going to say? Oh, Brigapati, yeah, that's really important because he's prolific. And I interviewed him and I taped it. We can transcribe that if someone would like to transcribe something. Yeah? His presentation. He goes on the campus and he say, are you a student or teacher? And then they say, I'm a student. And I go, are you a good one? He says, are you a good one? And they say, oh, I guess so. And then he says, you look like a good one. And he, what's your major? And what's your major? Computer science? Okay, so he opens anywhere in the book, like here's Pralambasura. And he goes, look, how's this for a computer science picture? How's this for a computer science picture?
Good.
This is his presentation. He starts off like this. It's like, are you a student or teacher? Student. What's your major? Electrical engineering. Are you a student? Are you a good student? Yeah. What's your major? Another one? Business? Look, how's this for a business picture? He just shows him any picture. And then he says, how's this for a such and such? How's this for a zoology picture? And then they kind of look at it and they go, ha ha ha. And then, hasiras. And then he says, yeah, it teaches about self-realization. How that there's an essence within this body. It's not finished even when the body's finished. And you've heard of karma, meditation, right? Close the book, say, yeah, it's just for a donation. We don't sell it. We just take a donation. We don't need the money. On and on like that. It's very quick, very direct what he does. But he starts off with the joke and makes the presentation like that. So you can do that too. Just ask him a question. And remember, when you're communicating with people, what they're really interested in, what everyone's interested in is themselves. And so if you're talking about them, and also everyone likes Hasya Ras, if you combine those two together, it's a winning combination. Now with small books, simple, easy presentation. These are books on yoga, meditation, and we just ask for a donation. I actually simultaneously, as I'm handing the book, putting the book in their hand, I'm asking for the donation because it's such a small commitment. And it's just books on yoga and meditation, it helps you get free from stress, and we just take a donation for it. It's over in 5 seconds. Yes or no, take it or not. And it's like, boom, just that quick with small books. And another point is that when you distribute it, when you hand a book to somebody, most of you know this, but it's worth going through, and we welcome all those who are online this morning also, that, for instance, when I hand over the book and you reject it because you are a what? An atheist? Okay, so here, books on yoga and meditation shows you how to get free from stress, and you say, oh no, I can't take that, I'm an atheist, and you hand it back. Say it.
Oh, no, I can't take that because I'm an atheist.
Oh, I'm sorry, here, this one's for you. So always have, and as I said the other night, when Navina and I were just in LAX airport, we met these 3 Sikhs. And as Navina said, you know, they're at the time of their life, they don't want to hear about religion or anything like that. They're going around trying to have fun. So I showed him the book, and he said, no, we don't believe in this spiritual stuff. Oh, I said, I'm sorry. And I said, Navina, give me the non-spiritual book. And he handed me the other one. And I handed him that. And then the guy was totally satisfied. And so now you're a Buddhist, and you reject it because your books on yoga and meditation shows you how to get free from stress.
I don't want this because I'm a
let the record show she didn't want it because she's a Buddhist. Oh, I'm sorry, here, this one's for you. This is for the Buddhists. Here. There. So, now, you can go through, always have a variety of books. Don't push the book back at them, because once they've rejected it, it's finished. Always take it back and replace it. Take it back and replace it. And another principle is always honor their rejection. Always honor their objection. Please repeat. Honor their objection. If they have an objection, honor it. Honor the rejection and then keep distributing. Don't object to their objection, because whatever you resist persists. And if you honor the rejection, it just goes right past out the window. And so, people say, I'm really not interested. I'm like, I already gave or something like, I already donate for all this. Because I can appreciate that. You look like somebody who always donates. That's why I picked you out. And whatever way you can honor whatever their objection they're giving and appreciate it and then move on will be very effective. Christians. So actually, I've had really nice experiences with Christians recently. One was that I can remember very clearly was in front of a museum in Toronto. And I was with several devotees as witnesses, so when I can say this with full confidence, it'll be backed up. But when I went and I showed a Bhagavad Gita to a person in front of the museum, and he said, "Oh, I'm a born-again Christian." And I said, if there were more people like you in the world, and at first I think he was afraid I was going to say something nasty. I said, if there were more people like you in the world, it'd be a better place to live. It's people of faith like you who are keeping this world afloat. And then I went forward and he accepted the book. And so you can test that out. If you feel that the person, if you're running into a wall, and you have to just have a sense for this. If you're running into a wall with somebody who's going to waste a lot of your time, then I honor their objection. I say, oh, beautiful. If we had more people like you in the world, be with us, and thank you very much for walking the earth. And then I just move on as quickly as I possibly can without trying to present anymore. Questions or comments? Yes.
I just wanted to comment, Prabhu, just that we went to the LA Rath Yatra, and we had lots of these Christian people mentioning about no book distribution, and they were just kind of following us, and we were in front, and we almost reached the corner of Venice Beach, and there were lots of restaurants and lots of people sitting and eating. While they were standing there and said, this is not something that you should be reading, this is actually not good. And suddenly there was a surge of people saying, what is that we are not supposed to read? So we had 50, almost, I would minimum say 35 to 40 book packs that went. Everybody they are calling us from the corner and they said, can I have a copy of that? Can I have a copy of that? And we were thinking, oh, thank you, Krishna. There was a reason why they had to come and tell people not to take the books.
Yeah, we should hire those guys whenever we go out. SKP?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. When you tell the appreciating the devotees, Prabhuji, I think I don't know, many of you don't have experience to distribute Indian Christians. They're very tough, Prabhu. It's challenging. But one time myself, Malini Mataji, Vittal Prabhu, we all went door to door. And wife is a Indian Christian and husband is a Indian Hindu. So we are explaining and she came, I said, I am voluntary for Christianity, so I cannot accept any books to my home of Srimad Bhagavad. And then all of a sudden, we start appreciating her. Go on and on and on for more than 45 minutes. And she asked many questions about both Bhagavatam and finally she accepted Srimad Bhagavatam.
Usually what I've seen when I go for book distribution for kids, usually they say they're doing community service, usually they take it.
Community service.
Yeah.
That's a nice presentation. It's the greatest community service. A couple of don'ts. Don't chase after people, especially on the street. For kids, they should learn this sort of mode of meeting people, introducing, and not run up to people so much on the street. Learn how to sort of, find the right fruits and then hand the books over. I think it'll be helpful for them to learn this technique on the street because they're so enthusiastic and people really like them. I notice people, when they see them, they're very attracted to them. So a little bit of direction and finesse, and maybe we can have one specifically for a kids class in doing this presentation on the street in the future. But these things you can pass on anybody who has kids who are coming out on the street and present that. And last, I just say that it's really important when you go out, all of you, to have a sampling of all the different foreign books. And not only that, learn what they are. It's not hard to memorize. If you can learn computer language, you can look at a book and figure out if it's Korean or Farsi or Mandarin, or Spanish or something like that. So get to know these books because it's a really, it was Prabhupada's directive. He said, print as many books in as many languages and distribute throughout the whole world. So get to know these books, learn what you're distributing. If you have to make a little post-it and take them home and line them up and test the family and learn what these different books are, find out what's in them. Because when you become more conscious of them, then you'll be more conscious that people want them. And when you put the right book in people's hands, if somebody wants something in Mandarin and you're able to deliver that to them, you get higher points with Krishna. Higher points. And I say that, there's praman for that Prabhupada used to deeply appreciate when devotees would cross over these cultural boundaries. And when, for instance, they would go to a Muslim university and they would be able to install a Srimad Bhagavatam set. Prabhupada said, anyone who does this, I take the dust from their feet and I put it on my head. So it's obviously a big thing. We used to have our own point system to augment how important it is. Sudeep?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, speaking of distributing to people of different nationalities, one thing that I would like to mention, which I mentioned the other day, was we were out on the Kids Sankirtan last time, and I knocked the door and it was a Korean family. And at that point, we did not have the Korean book. We had other language books. And I didn't even speak that, obviously I didn't speak their language, and they weren't able to quite fully communicate in English. But somehow or the other, if you try to communicate in some way or the other, I was able to communicate. I was just speaking in English, obviously, but using a lot of hand gestures and showing them the pictures. And they accepted Bhagavad Gita in English. And I promised them that, I took down their apartment number and I promised them that I'm sure we have Korean books and that I will deliver. It took me some time to go back to that apartment. But the next time I went there, and they gave the donation for Bhagavad Gita, the next time I went there, they were not in such a good mood at that time. But still they accepted the Korean book and gave, at that time they gave a quarter because they were willing to return back the Bhagavad Gita. And I didn't want that to happen. So I just said, just take it as a gift, just give a penny. And they gave a quarter. But now they have Bhagavad Gita and they have a Korean book. So thank you.
Okay, if there are no more questions, yes.
I also had a experience of this having. I really relate to having these foreign books in our hand. On our way back from LA Ratha Yatra, we were waiting at a bus stop, and there were like three. They looked like students. So we had a couple of copies from the LA Ratha Yatra. So I handed them one of the copies. So one of the guy was pretty vehement. He was like, I don't want it. So I asked him why. So he said, I am from Muslim. I'm a Muslim. Then, but there was another guy who started inquiring about the book, and when I turned the book over, there was information in Arabic, and he immediately connected to it, and that kind of helped him to hold on to that book, and he was very happy to see that. He asked me a question that, do you have it in Arabic? I said yes, we have books in Arabic as well. So all the more important to have this foreign language books with us.
Yeah, it fits. Yeah, it's good. Okay, last point. Vittal.
Prabhu, when we are in the book distribution, we are usually in groups. So do you think that will actually, like you said, right, the people can see from 3 blocks away that they're trying to catch us? Like if we are in a group with all this, is it becoming more conspicuous? Should we be spreading out further?
One thing is I can say about groups is to be conscious of what the other distributors are doing. And like I notice sometimes, like I wait for people. And then sometimes I'm waiting and the perfect person's coming and then someone jumps in. It's like, here, you know? And then the person, no, I'm not interested. And they're already like, so to be aware of who's around you. Many years ago when we used to work together in airports and things like that, we had codes, you know, that we'd say, you know, like that person's coming, I have him. We'd say a word and everyone would understand, okay, leave him alone. He's going to talk to that person. And so there's a sort of communication that you need to work out, at least be aware of what the other distributors are doing when you're there so that you can accommodate everybody. And it's not necessarily that it'll scare people away. I noticed last night, even though there was a lot of us, still people were coming through, and still some people, even after they got, you know, they got a flyer and the whole thing, they still would stop. If, you know, if they're interested, you know, they would do that. Downtowns are Palo Alto's a very light environment. Some downtowns are very tough because on every corner there's somebody doing something. And the people, they just, like, I'm getting through this, I'm not stopping for anyone. They already make up their mind. So it can become a little tougher downtown in general to stop people because the modes are ratcheted up a little bit more. But because it's late now, we want to move on because all the devotees are hungry, I would imagine. And we also have to do Guru Puja. So, no, you did the Guru Puja? Okay, so now it's time for Prasadam. And okay, go ahead. You lead us, Gita.
Mahaprasade Govinde Nama
Mahaprasade Govinde
Nama Brahmane Vaishnave
Nama Brahmani Vaishnave
Salpa Punyavatam Rajan
Swapa Punyavatam Rajan
Vishva Salvata Jayate
Vishwaso Nagajayate
Prasade Sarva Dukana
Prasade Sarva Dukana
Anyaso Pajayate
Anirasyo Prajayate
Prasana Setashu Yashu
Prasanna Chetasu Yashu
Buddhi Paratya Vishyate
Buddhi Paryavatishtate
Mahaprasadam Ki
Jai. We'd also like to welcome back to ISV His Grace Tushta Krishna Prabhu, who's the temple president and leader of the Denver, Colorado community. In his normal, unassuming, quiet way, he's established a powerhouse of a temple there in the Midwest. They have a brahmachari ashram with how many brahmacharis now? 10 brahmacharis. And they're good ones too. And they're doing really big book distribution. They have all kinds of programs going on there. So take advantage of Tushta Krishna Prabhu's association whenever you get the chance. And also another warm welcome for His Holiness Keshav Bharati Das Goswami. And we want to thank everyone who joined us today online, broadcasting here from our studio in downtown Mountain View. Thank you for joining us for the talk by Keshav Bharati Das Goswami this morning, and also for the Sankirtan training seminar. If you have questions or comments, you can mail them in, and we'll do our best to accommodate you. Who are the cooks for today? Avantika? Here's your mic.
Hare Krishna. The cook for today was Hiro Mataji.
Haribo! Sharirad Vijajao jodendriya tahika jibe pele vishaya shagare Dharma jedivayati Lava moy sudurmati Take jeta katita samsare Krishna voda doyamor Kori bare jihvajar Shaprasadanda dilobai Shayanamrita pao Radha Krishna gunagao Premedako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Premedako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Nitai Gaura Haribol 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol Please come take Prasadam. Hare Krishna. And thank you also to Ramananda Saka Prabhu, Vijay Prabhu, for the audio-visual extension, which is sending out these presentations all over the world. Hare Krishna.